you were going to be on a huge tour this year, but obviously coronavirus has sort of put a stop to that. Can you tell us a little bit about what audiences would have seen on that tour?
Well, it's not what they would have, it's what they will, because unless this virus keeps all live shows away, we'll be touring next March all across the UK and Holland, and there's some other European territories that, had the virus not come along, we would have. I'd already be able to say in these other countries, and we're hoping
Yeah.
those interests will return. It's I don't have a set plan, so what I'll do is, and I've already started it. In fact, I'll start thinking, what area of the show could I, when I say improve, it could just be, adding on something, or there's new sound gear that comes along that allows me to place the sound. I have been fortunate to work with a sound engineer that is terrific in his field, and we're always talking, what can we do next? What can we do next? And specifically with Richard Burton until 2010, each of the tours, he was a three-dimensional talking head. But then filmed holography came along, and Liam Neeson came on board as the journalist, and I expanded the script. And I went back to those original recordings I did with Richard when it was that much longer. And I thought, yeah, some of this is really good stuff, and I'd love to reinstall it back into, firstly, the new generation double album, because I don't have a limitation of time, because we're in the world of digital, but because of the shows. I've been learning how audiences were reacting, and so there were some good opportunities to bring back some of the script. I wrote a new song from a certain point in time. We played a West End season. It was supposed to be 7 weeks, but it ran for 11 because it was doing really well, and I wrote a new song for that. So that was in many of the tours, but then I brought in, as a character, H.G. Wells himself.
Right.
Who's not a character as if within the storyline. He appeared in three places. One of that was at the start, when he's 33 years old, a year after The War of the Worlds was first released, and he was just getting a reputation for having written that story, along with other things that he had written. And then the next time he appears was 20 years later, and he's now a world-renowned author, and he's got a view of life as 20 years older. And then toward the very end of the show, he reappears. He's in a rocking chair, and he's months away from his own passing. And he's looking back, having survived through 2 world wars, and he's essentially recognizing that there's nothing left for him to say. He's soon to pass away, and he's handing the future over to you, the youth, and it's for you to change the world now, and to make bad turn into good, and sentiments like that. And it was an amazing success. I think it surprised everybody when we brought HG, and it was one tour so far, but I think he may reappear on the next tour. So it's a mixture of content, technologies. With Liam Neeson, unlike with Richard, I was working with a living actor. So when we filmed him, we could film him in full body, and he appears in a couple of scenes where he's interacting live on stage. One is with Ricky Wilson, who you mentioned to me, who came into this tour, and he plays the artilleryman. And there's a moment where the artilleryman has just survived the first wave of the Martians, who have landed on Horsell Common, and they have weapons and machines that they start to build, and they're wiping out everybody who's in and around that vicinity. He has survived, and he barely makes it to a house that's lived in by the journalist. George, his name is George Herbert. Okay, now H.G., his real name was Herbert George Wells, and I turned it around to George Herbert, G.H.
Very nice.
And there's Liam, full body on stage in 3D, and the artilleryman's crawling, and he's battered and bruised, and he's offered a drink by the journalist, by George, and yes, please, thank you, and the journalist hands him this glass of water, and it's one of those moments where the audience see, hold on, how did this glass get from this 3D screen into the hands of the artilleryman who's drinking the water? And it's a trick, but it's a darn good one, and it's one of those moments where people say, how do they do that?